With MaXXXine, Ty West and A24 complete their trilogy of what's become a career-defining role for star Mia Goth. So, how does the third film stack up against its predecessors, X and Pearl? Well, let's take a look. So in this one, years after the harrowing events of X, Maxine Minx, once again played by Mia Goth, is working as an adult film star in Los Angeles. Just as she lands a breakthrough part in a horror flick, a demented killer starts murdering the people in her life, and now, in order to save her life and her career, she'll have to face her past. So, with X and Pearl, Mia Goth has received some of the best notices of her career, with Pearl in particular being raved about. And let's not forget her double role in X. I mean, these movies have made her a genre icon, and a lot of people were saying that she was probably Oscar-worthy for Pearl. So, MaXXXine is definitely a star vehicle for her through and through, but while she once again delivers a very good performance, the film can't help but pale somewhat in comparison to the somewhat scrappier predecessors. With MaXXXine, West seems to be working with a bigger budget, and the movie is peppered with stars that include everyone from Halsey to Lily Collins to Kevin Bacon and more. The film is a riff on 80s sleaze cinema, which of course I love, with heavy references to everything from 1984's Angel to Body Double to Vice Squad and beyond. Yet, in constructing a whacked-out 80s fantasia, the horror aspect seems to have gotten lost. While there's plenty of gore, the film is better as a nasty riff on the 80s, complete with copious amounts of cocaine and needle drops, than it is as a horror flick. Whatever the case, it's clear that West has taken the opportunity to make exactly the film he wanted to make, with it overflowing with love aimed at those sleazy VHS movies many of us grew up watching at sleepovers. You know, the kinds that our parents would have never let us watch. West definitely has the perfect lead in Mia Goth, with her once again digging her teeth into the role. The movie opens with a quote from Bette Davis, and in some ways, Mia Goth has become kind of the horror version of Bette Davis, with her delivering the same kind of big, broad performance that few would honestly dare to do. Adopting a southern Bible Belt accent, she doesn't just chew on the scenery, she absolutely devours it. But what makes Mia Goth so good is how utterly devoted she seems to be to inhabiting the character, and it's a shame she's never really gotten the recognition she deserves for her amazing acting in the series. It can't be denied, though, that MaXXXine is a little less her show than other films. West loads the movie with 80s set pieces, and some of the movie nods are laid on a little bit thick. There's one very random scene where Kevin Bacon shows up dressed as Jack Nicholson in Chinatown. That was a little too on the nose for me. Pun intended if you've seen Chinatown, by the way. Everyone seems to have fun with their roles, with Bacon hamming it up as a sleazy PI, while Giancarlo Esposito seems to be having a whale of a time as MaXXXine's bargain basement agent. Elizabeth Debicki plays MaXXXine's icy director, with her rocking some 80s shoulder pads to make her look like she just walked off the set of Dynasty in a good way. Lily Collins and Halsey, by comparison, have little more than walk-ons, but I did enjoy Bobby Cannavale and Michelle Monaghan as the two hard-boiled LA cops on MaXXXine's trail. Probably the biggest star of the movie, though, is LA itself, with West lovingly recreating the town the way it looked in that era, on film anyway, with Skid Row and the Hollywood Hills as much of a star of the movie as Goth is. So why then didn't I love it? That's the strange thing, as I'm an 80s nerd and a lot of MaXXXine's aesthetic works for me. But it also tries to be a little too self-conscious in how much of a pastiche of other movies it is, and the nods at 80s excess such as MaXXXine's coke use feel kinda heavy-handed. And there's also the fact that despite buckets of gore, the movie just is almost too much of a parody to work as a horror film in its own right, and I was never scared, not for an instant. This was a line that the last two movies were able to toe a little bit better than this was. They do a good job in tying the bad guys here into the satanic panic of the era and the real killings that were being done by the Night Stalker, but the ultimate reveal is sadly predictable. And the finale, to me anyways, felt anticlimactic, which is why I give this a rather middling 6 out of 10. I mean, don't get me wrong, MaXXXine was a mixed bag, but I would still be on board if they were to make a fourth film in the series. West is nothing if not stylish, while Goth is always captivating in the role. It may be the weakest of the bunch, but you know what? It's still worth watching.